Hey there, what's going on? Coach Megan here, and welcome to my dynamic warm-up video. So this sequence coming up is a series of stretches and poses that I use on a regular basis to warm up for a run, a ride, or a workout. And really what it's meant to do is just help you kind of get a full body shakeout. We're gonna work all the way from head down to toes. Okay, so if you're ready, let's get going. So let's just start with feet hip distance apart here. And just feel your weight even between the big toe mound, the little toe mound, and the heel of your foot. So kind of this tripod position in your foothold here. And then take a nice deep breath in, reach up wildly overhead. You could do a little back bend if you like. Let's interlace the fingers and press them up towards the sky, really letting the shoulders come up towards the ears. Nice big stretch. And as you let go of the fingers, let's twist to the right. So I'd like for my hips to stay pointing forward, but my shoulders and my torso can twist to the right. Come back to center, let the hands meet up top, twist to the left. So constantly trying to square the hips and twist from the sternum. Good. Coming back to center, nice deep forward fold. So hinge at the hips. Send the hips backwards as you fold forwards. Nice soft bend in the knees here. Try not to lock them out. And just let everything hang heavy. Come all the way into a half lifted position, so that your head, your shoulders, and your hips are all in the same line. So we're trying for less rounding, a little bit more flattening. So I'm dropping my heart down towards the floor. I'm pressing the back of my head up towards the sky. Pretend like someone was going to come around with a tray of drinks and set it on your back. Good. And then forward fold, go all the way back down. Good. Come back up into that half lift. And then we're going to make some cat and cow movements. So you're going to arch your back. And then you're going to drop your belly towards the ground. And just let the head follow naturally what the spine does. A couple more rounds here, just kind of playing around with how your back feels. Good, then forward fold, go all the way back down. As you come up, sweep the arms out, wide up overhead. And just like we did before, twist to the right. Good, so hips are staying square. If you're using your mat, you can use the short edge of the mat as your gauge. Coming through center, switching to the left. And you can look wherever's most comfortable for you. So you could follow the twist, or you could stay looking forwards. Come back through center, hinge at the hips, forward fold again, all the way down. And then moving into your half lifted position here. Now from here, take the right arm, thumb up, and raise it overhead here. Bring it back down, and then lift it out to the right. Bring it back down, press it palm up behind you. Do that twice more. Palm up. Good, last time. Thumb up for the first two, palm up. Let's switch to the left. Left arm up, out to the side, palm up behind. So you'll do this sequence 3 times on both arms, trying to keep your nice flat back. So that means I'm pressing down into my feet, really getting strong in my foundation here. And then folding, going all the way back down. Good, sweep the arms out wide to come all the way back up. And then let's bring the right foot up and march, so like a little single leg march here. And you're gonna catch the right knee in your hands. Now I'm gonna do a series of push and pull. So as I breathe out, you can push the knee into the hands, and your hands will resist the knee. As you breathe in, just gently pull up with the hands to get a little bit more flexion here in the hip and the knee. and then push, knee into hands, pull, hands into knee. Good, now take this out to the 45, so practice a little sneaky balance here. You could hold this right knee or you could let it go all together. And then bring your hands to your hips and make this knee one big circle. Right? So you're finishing what we call a hip circle or a hip controlled articular rotation here. So bring the knee up and forward, out to the side, internally rotate it from the hip to follow it through. One last time. Good. And notice as I do these hip circles, I'm not borrowing from this other hip, I'm leaning to the side, okay? So your standing leg, which is the left one in this case, needs to be really strong. So up in front, out to the side, from the hip, internally rotate the leg to swing it around and through. Now let's take this same right leg in the reverse. So I'm gonna turn so that you can see what I'm doing. So first I'm gonna swipe my foot like I'm trying to get gum off the bottom of my shoe to pull the heel towards the sit bone. Then I'm gonna push the foot back and pretend like there's a fence over here that I have to hurdle and get over. So swipe, stamp, and hurdle, right? So notice here, I'm also not borrowing from the standing leg again in order to get this right leg up and over. I'm using all of these muscles, okay? So you'll do that 3 times and then come back to center. Good. On this 3rd time, extend the leg long, put it heel down, hinge at the hips, and sit back almost like you were going to sit in a chair. But here what we're looking for is a hamstring stretch along the back of this right leg. Arms or hands can go anywhere that feel good to you. And you're sitting down and back so that you feel the stretch on the back of this leg. Good. You could even reach opposite hand to opposite foot. And then as you come up, reach this left arm up and make a one big circle. Do that a couple times. Good. Sit down and back. Touch opposite hand to opposite toes. As you stand up, make a big circle 3 times. Good. Last time, sit down and back. Touch. And if you can't touch your toes, that's totally fine. Go for the shin, the knee, the opposite thigh. And focus here on, as you sit down and back, that the hips stay square, that you're not really kicking this left glute out to the side, that you're staying square. Again, you could use that short edge of your mat as your marker. So this we want to try to make just a little more fluid. Good. Now let's repeat that whole thing on the left. So starting back over here, I'm going to grab onto my left knee now, push and pull. So pull up and in, and then push the knee into the hands. Pull and push. You could do this 3 or 4 times just to kind of get that leg primed up. And then as you let go, take it out on the 45. Practice a little balance here. You can hold the knee or let it go. And then from the hip, remember, we're going to internally rotate that leg to finish the hip circle. And then do a few more hip circles here. Out to the side, internally rotate, sweep it around and through. Now notice there's no momentum. It's all controlled with those muscles. And my standing leg is working pretty hard here to keep me balanced. Good. Just like the last time, we'll do this last one, and then we'll take it in the reverse. So swipe, stamp, and then hurdle. And you'll probably find that you have one side that it's really easy or more easy than your second side. And that's totally fine. Just practice. You can see I'm a little more unstable on this side. It's harder for me on this side to lift that left leg up and over. So I know that this is the one that I really need to work on. Good. So now the next time this leg comes up and forward, little balance, I'm going to extend the leg long, hinge at the hips, maybe reach down, and then stand up and sweep the opposite arm 3 times. And once you get the hang of this sequence, you'll be able to go a little bit faster and a little more fluidly. But we're not really looking for speed. We're looking for quality of movement. So don't rush it. Good. Come back up to standing, and then let's turn this into a little bit of a flow. I'm just going to put my towel down because my mat is getting a little bit warm in the sun here. And as I mentioned, I have this block nearby, and you might see me use it as a modification or a way for you to be more comfortable in your pose, but you don't necessarily have to have one. You could also use a stack of books, some extra pillows, whatever you just have lying around. So let's come back to kind of close to the top of your mat if you're using it. Hips, knees, and toes all face forwards. You'll inhale for a nice big full body stretch, maybe interlacing the fingers, pressing the palms up towards the sky. Good. As you release, bring the right knee up and in just like we did. And now you'll let go with the right arm and twist here. So you can look anywhere that's comfortable. You could stay looking forwards, or you could follow this right hand and look anywhere, even all the way back. And if you fall out, that's totally fine. Practice. Good. As you come back to center, both arms go up, and then you're going to step back into a high lunge. So high lunge means the back knee is up off the ground. My hips are square to the front of the mat or to the direction where my toes are pointing, right? So if you're not using your mat, pick something in front of you. Could be the TV, could be your computer screen, could be your phone if you're watching me on it, and just think about squaring those hips. So in this case, you might want to pull back on the left one just a little, right? And push forward on the right. So here's what that looks like. Okay, arms come up. We're going to twist to the left. And then if you can, you're going to lean back just a little. Good. You'll come back to center. Bring the arms up overhead. And now let's drop the back knee. And come back up. So lift and lower the back knee a couple times here. And then we're going to lower all the way down into what I call low lunge. So the back knee is down. Hips are still square. Now here's a little balance challenge for you, and if you're a runner or a cyclist, this might be great for you. Working on single leg hip strength and balance here. So the goal is to get to this pose. I'm going to turn to face you just so you can see it. The goal is to get to here from this low lunge that we were just in, okay? And the way we're going to do it is we're going to lean back to the point where this front leg gets nice and loose or light, and we can hover it out to the side. So lean back, engage this leg, press down firmly, lift this leg, and bring it out to the side. You can try that a couple times if you'd like. You can hit pause or do it one more time with me. And out to the side. So this is gate pose. I'm going to stay face this way just so that you can see what I'm doing here, but otherwise you'd be corresponding with your mat. So extend the left arm long, reach up and over. Nice big stretch here. And you could trace a little bit of an arc with the right arm overhead. Turn to face the sky if you'd like. Whatever feels good. Good. As you bring the hand back down, you're going to lean, lift this leg, and put the knee down right underneath the hip. Then we'll turn, or I'll turn, into all fours here. So you might hear me say all fours, you might hear me say quadruped, just the same name for the same pose. So from here, you're going to lean back a little and start picking up your fingers. So do 5 or 10 finger lifts, really keeping the heels of the hands grounded. And then lean forward, put some pressure into the fingertips, and lift the heels of the hands here. So just a quick primer for the hands and the wrists, because we're going to end up in downward facing dog, and I want to be sure that your hands, your fingers, and your wrists are ready for that load. So after you've done that a couple times, let's extend the right leg long down the mat or onto the grass. And we'll do what I call an ankle smush. So the goal of this is to purposefully roll the ankle 360 degrees. So try to smush your foot, your ankle, your toes into the ground and go in both directions. The first few times that I did this, it felt really weird and it made me really uncomfortable, but now I really love this. And I think it's a great way to not only warm up your ankles, but also stretch them post-run or ride. Good. Coming back to that tabletop position, tuck the toes under and come to sit somewhat on your heels. So this could be a tight area for you. It might be a little bit uncomfortable. So here's where your block could come into play. If you have a block, you could stick it underneath at any height to help carry some of your body weight so that there's not so much pressure pushing down into the toes. That's totally fine. The other thing you might want to keep in mind is you might want to flip under your baby toes. Sometimes they get hung up there. And the more that you do this pose, the better it will feel. It's great to stretch out not only the toes, but the soles of the feet as well, that get really tight when we run or ride, or even just throughout the day, standing, walking, doing our day-to-day stuff. So we won't be here for long, just maybe another long count of 10. And then you'll just lean forward. If you've chosen to use the block, take it out and set it off to the side. Now let's go and do a little ankle smush on the other side. So you'll extend the leg long and smush it around. And you can see I'm rocking forwards and backwards here. Make sure you go in both directions. Nice. So now after we've done both legs, we'll come back to that quadruped position. I'll step my hands forward just a little, tuck my toes, and shift my hips up and back into downward facing dog. So from here, you kind of want your body to make like a triangle shape, and you really want your knees to be nice and bent here. And you can kind of play around with this shape. I'm just going to adjust my towel because it's a little slippery and I want my feet to be in contact with the mat so they stick. And then you can pedal your heels. You could kick your sit bones up high and press down through your hands. You could shift your hips left and right. Whatever feels good. And then you'll walk your feet to your hands close to the top of your mat. And we'll end up in that same forward fold, kind of where we started. Slow spinal roll up to come all the way back up to standing. And then let's repeat that same sequence on your left. So big reach, maybe interlace the fingers, press the palms towards the sky. Good. As you exhale, balance on the right, grab a hold of the left, and then we're going to twist to the left. So hold with the opposite arm, pull back like you were pulling back on a bow and arrow here, extend the left hand out behind you, and then you can look anywhere that's comfortable. So that could be straight ahead, or you could turn to look all the way back towards the back hand. So not only will you see my foot moving around because I'm on the grass, right? You'll also see it moving around because I'm challenging my balance as I shift my gaze to a place that's further away from neutral, right? So this is neutral. I add these elements of instability or challenge here by picking one foot up off the ground and then twisting myself and turning my gaze away from center. So it's just a great way to challenge your balance. Okay, from here, step this left foot back into that high lunge. So here again, we're gonna square off the hips. So pull back on the right, push forwards on the left. So this is what it looks like. Some of you might be kind of here. And if you kind of think about your hips like they had headlights on them, so if you take your two fists and just put them, feel right onto those hip bones, you want them to be pointing to the short edge of your mat. So I'm gonna pull back on this right one and push forward on the left. That might mean that I have to spin on this back foot to get them there. So just try that next time. So from high lunge here, we're gonna twist to the right and then lean back just a little. Good, as we come back through center, we reverse how we got there. And now we're gonna drop that back knee down. So your hands could stay up here. They could go out to the side. Or if you prefer hands on hips, you can do that too. So lift and lower the back knee a couple times here. And if your back knee doesn't touch down, that's fine. Just think about touching it down, go to your greatest range of motion, and then come back up again. Good. We'll stay down and we'll practice lean back, single leg balance here, hip stability as we pick the foot up and send it out to the side, to the right. I'm going to do that one more time for practice. So from low lunge, I'm going to work my way into gate pose, which means this right leg is going to get light first. And then I'm going to swing it. I'm not really gaining any momentum, but I'm going to think about making a nice big arc as I bring it out. But the real trick is, can I do it while I'm talking at the same time, right? I'm going to think about swinging it out in an arc to the right. Good. So the foot comes directly out of the hip, sole of the foot is on the ground, toes are pointing forwards, right? So kind of could be a nice ankle stretch for you here because you're kind of rolling the foot to the outside. Left hand comes up and over and we lean. You could trace that same arc here like we did before. Good. And then we'll hinge at the hips. Go back into gate pose, into quadruped, all fours. So lift and carry it around. And come back here into quadruped. My mat's getting hot again, so I'm gonna sit a towel down here. So we're back here in quadruped. We're gonna tuck the toes, and instead of going to downward facing dog, we're just gonna hover our knees off the mat. So this is a really great stabilization position here, and you can feel once you get started, your whole core light up. And when I say core, I literally mean everything from your collarbones all the way down and past through your hips here, 360 degrees, so all the way around. So in order to be successful in this knee hovering position, we need to adopt that same upper body position as we had in this half lift. So from here, notice how my body is here, from hips through shoulders through crown of head. And now we're going to take it here, even when the knees are off the ground. The inclination sometimes when the knees come up is to do a little of this, or it might be to do more arching. Again, think about if someone were to come around and put a tray of drinks on your back. From here, extend the right foot long and touch back. Come back to center. Left touch out, come back to center. Right touch elbow, come back to center. Left touch elbow, come back to center. That wasn't too bad, was it? All right, and from here, now you can tuck your hips up and back and go to downward facing dog. And you'll probably want to adjust your hand position, your foot positioning, whatever you need to make somewhat of a triangle shape here, a pyramid shape. Nice bent knees. You could even press down and back into the knees and then float up and forward into plank. Up and back into dog, bend the knees, up and forward into plank. Last time. Up and back, bend the knees, flow forward into plank, and then just straight up and back. And this time, to get back to standing, you'll walk your hands to your feet. And just like last time, a nice slow spinal roll up to come all the way back up to standing. Head is the last thing to come stack up on top, shoulders and hips. Okay guys, that's it. Well, thanks for joining me for that little mini warm-up routine. I hope that you enjoyed it. Once you kind of get the flow or the hang of it, you can go through it a little bit more quickly. But again, we're not wanting to sacrifice form. You'll just be able to link movements more fluidly together. So I hope you'll give that a try. Try it consistently. So practice it once a day for the next 10 or 14 days and see how you feel as compared to before you started to incorporate this. My hope is that you'll start to feel a little bit stronger, happier, and healthier. Okay guys, that's all for today. I hope to see you soon. Bye.